And welcome back to another GACC podcast where we're going to be discussing games, anime, computers, and collectibles. I'm still your host, Harrison, and to my left...
Hi, I'm Faust.
And to my right...
I'm Joe.
And we're going to go over the news of the week, if I can get through my words. Because
yeah, you've had some work done.
I'm having some massive surgery right now done in regards to my face.
Could we say you're having an oral fixation?
Certainly his medical community is.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I think the next half of this year now is going to be interesting with me being on these things and talking, because I'm going through drastic changes thanks to sinuses.
Well, I mean, we'll power through.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we do.
Right.
So otherwise, I guess because of that and just generally, James stepping out for a little bit, we're having another slow news week. It's about the third slow news week we're going with. The last time we covered some C2E2, you and I went on that trip. We spent a day at C2E2 as part of that trip. Mm-hmm. Did you, because I reported about my experience, did you have anything about your experience in specific that you wanted to mention?
So you focus a lot on the artist galleries, and you focus a lot on the merch and stuff like that. I'm a panel guy. I like panels. I definitely enjoy them. And the crowd at C2E2 was very nice. And I will say props to the organization.
Oh, yes.
Massively great organization when it came to them. They required a little bit more paperwork. I have a medical condition, but we're not going to go into that. But they really know their stuff and how to train everybody. And so that was really nice to have a well-organized, well-oiled machine when it came to the process. C2E2 and FanX when we went to Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. Those were both pretty well-organized, well-handled. FanX actually could learn a few things. I've actually already contacted them about it, and if they see it, I still love you guys, but at the same time...
And we're going this year.
Yeah, well, not FanX. We're going to actual Salt Lake Comic-Con.
We're going to Salt Lake City Comic-Con.
In September. So.
Yeah. Could also probably learn a little bit from this. The Duke City and Albuquerque and Santa Fe Comic-Con.
I was gonna mention that.
Well, okay, so Duke City is a child when it comes to the process of this, because it is a new... Isn't this the first annual or the second annual?
So this is the first Duke City Comic-Con, but this is done by the same people who do the Albuquerque Comic-Con and the Santa Fe Comic-Con.
Okay.
So that's no excuse.
All right, I'll give you that.
This is a smaller summer con, from what it seems like that they're trying to kind of establish as the summer side of things, because the Albuquerque Comic-Con and the Santa Fe Comic-Con are both early year things. So that they have actually announced their schedule finally, about a week in advance.
Hey, that's actually normal because of cancellations and everything else.
So Duke City Comic Con runs from Friday, May 12th through the weekend to the 14th, Sunday. From there, Friday they're going to do an early called a sensitivity opening, which is for autistic kids, age range from 0 to 80.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
To show up when they don't like large crowds and stuff like that, and kind of meet the vendors and do certain things. There are some activities planned for them as well.
There are those out there that will argue that would make a lot of nerds very autistic because they don't like large crowds.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
But so they do say here it is the honor system, so please don't abuse our goodwill. So I'm hoping that it's people who've actually been diagnosed with autism who are getting in.
I mean, it's a good process, and they're trying to do it without requiring medical documents and stuff like that, and it's admirable. Let's hope that the public doesn't abuse it, is what I would agree with that statement.
Mm-hmm. So otherwise, it's sort of an early opening thing, but for kids and guardians. From 3 to 5, 4 to 8 p.m. is going to be the standard time. From there, all guests are scheduled, all guests and panels. On Friday, there's an after party with Kitty Kaboom.
I've heard that name.
Cosplayer.
It's a cosplayer out of California.
From 8 to 11. And then Saturday and Sunday are just all guests scheduled to appear at the standard times and places. So,
and Sunday, mothers get in free, I believe.
With Mother's Day, they have to get in free.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that they do nice, I always have to give, I have to give a little bit of props to this, is so this whole trifecta of Comic Cons underneath all this is active duty military with active ID get in free all days. Policemen and firefighters get in free with a badge all days. Not a discount, free.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
you know,
That's good. If you want to go check it out, go check it out.
Does it count if I'm fighting my own fires in my kitchen?
You need a badge.
you got a badge. You got to have a badge.
Other than that, some panels are going to be held on Saturday and Sunday. Apparently, there are none scheduled for Friday.
That's actually pretty common.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at how many places with a short schedule they don't want to do a lot of paneling.
And it looks like the last panels for both days are going to be cosplay related, either cosplay contests or
It's
about
the size
cosplay.
of the con.
Yeah. So this is a very cosplay-centric con. Apparently, there's going to be some form of merch floor, some form of artist alley. I mean, we're in the artist alley. Mm-hmm. So we'll see exactly what kind of thing there. We're going to report with some coverage there. And maybe even, I think we have decided we are going to shoot a show at the con. So it's kind of thankful that it's a smaller con.
Yeah,
being able
no,
to
I get you.
figure that stuff out.
I think we're going to try Saturday. We might do it Sunday.
It's possible.
Or for you, Friday early.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It might be just like watching a booth at a flea market. Yeah.
Oh, don't shortchange people.
Yeah. And I mean, I might try to go check out some of these panels if I can. Not that I'm interested in seeing anything in them, because I'm not really interested in cosplay or comic art.
Yeah, but there's always a point to learning new things and seeing where you might find inspiration.
Well, I also want to show these people who took the time out of their busy schedules to show up and support the con.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I want to show them support and gratitude in return, and going to see them and listen to what they have to say seems like the best way to do that.
Well, who's going to show us gratitude and support, for us showing up to the con?
your viewers,
Oh.
these guys.
Yeah, you are going to come and say hello. We are going to be at the Duke City Comic Con all 3 days.
I know we're an exercising force, so hold your questions. We'll get to them as fast as we can. I mean, they will, because I probably won't be there.
Yeah, you'll probably come by and say hello, like one day, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, otherwise, in strange news, apparently for the second time only, Magic the Gathering has seen an emergency ban on a particular card or strategy of card, as you were saying.
Yes, let me actually pull this up. I don't have this in front of me at the moment because I'm not on my Slack yet. But historically, in Standard, there's been, I think, one other emergency ban, and it was with Skull Clamp, which was during like the Mirrodon cycle. So this was like 2000, like early 2000s when they first switched over to the modern border format. They did this emergency ban, but they have because of 2 cards in the set as a combo that they've caused this emergency ban is in the latest set there's called Felidar Guardian. It's it's an uncommon. You won't think too much about it. It's basically a 1/4, costs 4 mana. Its ability says that when it enters the battlefield, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So basically, you blink it out. If it has tokens or whatnot on it, they go away and whatnot. Then it gets to come back in as basically a new creature of that instance. So what's happening with this is it is being used with another card within the expansion, the set before.
The Planeswalker Sahil Rai.
Yeah. And where this is dangerous is, so a Planeswalker, you can use it once each turn during your main phase. But if you blink out the Planeswalker and bring it back in, its second ability is create a token that has a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except as an artifact in addition to its other types. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So this comes back in. You make a copy of the first card. It blinks back out. The Planeswalker comes back in, makes a copy. Blink, blink, blink. Now you have an army of cats that have haste that can attack all that turn. So you can just decimate the opponent.
So they created an infinite loop.
Yes.
Within the game rule. And that's why they have to emergency ban this particular card.
Correct, because it caused an infinite combo that you can get to relatively quick in the game. You can do this by turn 4.
If you're lucky, because while the Felidar Guardian is a 4 mana white, Sahil Rai is a 3 mana red-blue. So there's a white-red-blue there with the likelihood. They said the reason that they put out the emergency ban is because of the likelihood of this actually being a viable strategy within the game. Now, for those of you who don't play Magic the Gathering, understand this is game breaking. This is, and this is something that's allowed in tournament play up until the ban, essentially.
I only have one word to say.
Yeah.
Stasis.
Yeah, we're talking about standard, sorry.
I know, but back in the day, stasis was just as bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, they did away with interrupts and instants and stuff like that. So,
but the reason this isn't caught is because the Planeswalker comes from the previous set, Kaladesh. And then the smaller expansion that came after Kaladesh is where the Felidar Guardian is in. So it missed playtesting, basically, is what internal playtesting.
So the end of the statement put out by Wizards of the Coast essentially said, understand we shouldn't let combos like the Sahil Felidar get out the door in the first place. For that, we take ownership and are making changes to try to prevent this from happening again. But our highest priority is keeping Magic fun and enjoyable for our players. We believe this banning, coupled with a number of internal testing process improvements, will be significant steps towards making Standard the fun, dynamic format we all want it to be in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So, standard boilerplate, oops. And
my bad.
But these things are going to be happening, especially when they're revising the game with every different edition. Seems like every 2 or 3 editions is a completely different game, and all of a sudden
it is, especially if you're in standard. Standard is different than like modern and whatnot, and even the new cards that come out can affect the older formats. But standard is always within basically an 18-month or 2-year cycle, and things rotate out. And it's a pretty good track record because an emergency ban has not happened like this for over a decade now. I know that I believe they banned Jace the Mind Sculptor in standard for a bit when during the Zendikar block, but it was not an emergency ban because it wasn't something where it was insanely game breaking, but it was being so heavily played, and
they wanted people to actually have a varied and strategitic influence on the game instead of just taking whatever works best and exploiting it for the sake of victory.
Right.
I wonder if they could apply that to some online games that I know about, along with their playtesting standards.
Like MOBAs or something?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. MOBAs, MMOs, online shooters, just basically anything going out right now in general. Certainly anything by EA or Ubisoft.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk about Horizon Zero Dawn with that.
Yeah. I will say, I was watching you play Horizon Zero Dawn, and it looked like a very pretty game.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But it looked like that was all it was. It was pretty with no polish.
I would disagree with that statement. What I would disagree with is the fact that almost every game nowadays has a game-breaking ability.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter if you put it on the highest difficulty. It doesn't matter if you do any of that kind of stuff. And that's where I think a lot of you guys' statement comes true with maybe you guys should take a look at this a little bit more before you QA it a little bit better and then send it out. Because if I could change anything about Zero Dawn, it would be that game-breaking, the dodge roll. The dodge roll makes you invincible for the rest of the game. And
as long as you're good at timing it, you can go fight the toughest enemy in the game and just chip it away.
Yeah, I fought a Thunderjaw within like 15 levels of starting the game on very hard and had to empty my entire bag of arrows, but
I will admit, at least games with levels, I'm glad that levels aren't becoming so strict a thing. I learned the level strategy from World of Warcraft, where if you went to a place that wasn't your level or was above your level,
squish.
Yeah, you won't be able to do it. That's why you have to go back to the zone you were in and finish it.
Oh,
but a game like Witcher 3, where like, oh, I'm I'm level 3, and the first dungeon you go into, you're fighting enemies who are 10 levels higher than you. Mm-hmm. Like, you can actually get to the first dungeon naturally, it'll feel absolutely natural to you, and then when you go, why is this so hard? Well, the enemies are over 10 levels higher than you, and it's not impossible to find your way out of that successfully. So I like that kind of game design where, the level is kind of an idea of where you could be at where it's not going to be too difficult, or you could give yourself a real challenge and just go in when it's a big gap between levels.
So, but, okay, let's roll with that same momentum for a second. How do you feel about the level adjustment that happened in Guild Wars 2, or the fact that they're doing it in WoW now also?
Oh, where if you go to a place and you're over-leveled, then it will automatically dumb down your level to that area?
No, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
The compression.
Yeah, basically, they also level it up, too. So
depending on how many people of a certain level are in there?
Well, no, okay, so Guild Wars 2 brought you up.
Yeah.
If you were level 4 and you walked into a level 60 area,
I don't believe that.
It brought you up.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that. I think I don't like this in society happening, because if you are not capable of being in there and able to compete, and you get smacked by the monsters in the area, you should not. That's the game saying you're not strong enough to be here yet. Mm-hmm. So you should not be able to whine and go mwah until the game designers change it so that you can also be there, even though you're not strong enough.
But every kid gets a trophy.
Getting
bitch slapped by the level 70 mob is a pretty big trophy. You know what I mean?
Let me go on a little rant here. Okay, the reason that MMOs in general were worth playing to me was because it had a sense of you earn it. Like you had to go through and do the thing, and you had to go through and do the thing, and if you didn't do the thing, people knew it. Mm-hmm. Like, when you got a title or you had a particular item, people were like, wow, you went and did that. Like it was a badge or something like that.
Oh, and I remember the mounts.
Yeah, somewhere along the lines that turned into, well, I won it, and the Blizzard in this case, but Guild Wars did this too a little bit too. It was just, okay, you don't need to earn it. We'll just give it to you,
or you buy it. That
or pay us for it. Yeah.
Well, part of it was like people would start whining because it's like, I'm not privileged enough to have this high-end PC to be able to have the time to get this gear to get these things, and so you are excluding a major portion of the population from being able to get in and do these things.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, okay, so my friends have keyed these terms before in a game, money pits. So money pits have always existed in video games to get rid of that ones and zeros that you build up the entire time, and you need to pay for all your gear. And now, like, I'm not one to rag on Blizzard because I actually do like most of the Blizzard's games, but at the same time, somebody raised their hand and went, can we do that in real life?
Yeah.
And they went, let's sell the items. Let's sell the pets. And it's real. In real life, it's a money pit where you can literally throw money into it and be like, hey, look, I got this awesome stuff because I paid the money for it.
Yeah.
It's just... It's the classic gamer, I think, in all of us that stands up and that goes, I spent 100 hours doing that.
Yeah.
That is not fair.
I put in my time. And... granted, that was a major complaint that I had when I first started playing, and I wanted to go see the endgame content. I'd already done all of the stuff I could do on my own and with friends, going to dungeons and stuff like that. I wanted to go see endgame, and we were on some really hoity-toity raid server where if you didn't show the clout, if you didn't show that you were willing to put a full-time job's worth of effort into the game, you weren't going to see the endgame content, because it took a full-time job's worth of effort to be attuned and geared and properly spec'd and ready to play those things. And you had to know it before you even went in to see it.
But yeah, now guilds require, do you give us 5,000 gold a week?
Yeah.
You're like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good you are. Can you make the gold, and can you pay into the gold bank?
So yeah, everything it monetizes sooner or later. It just depends on what we're looking at.
Yeah. I'm glad I got a Warcraft after Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Because it just...
We went through Pandaria. We got through Pandaria looking for raid, and...
Hey, we beat the Mist of Pandaria.
Yeah.
Like, we went
Hands down.
We went endgame content, and like...
The only thing we didn't do was that stupid grindy legendary... The participation trophy legendary that everybody could get.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's points to being able to do both sides. I understand that. I'm never one to say that one side's without fault versus another, or one has a better argument than the other when it comes to the general sense of you want to enjoy the game. And if it requires that you buy the gear so somebody will let you in the door, okay. But at the same time, it's a different class.
Okay, so here's the thing. Is MMOs, there's so much there. You can enjoy the game. That end level stuff you don't necessarily need to do. That rating stuff you don't necessarily need to do to enjoy the game. If you want to participate in that, then that's a higher level tier thing that you need to step up to. And yes, it can be a little bit hard getting your foot in that door, but it is possible and you can do it.
It was just and so to go back to my original statement about how it was just not being able to put in the kind of time and effort, it was because even though I was there and willing, I had the time. I mean, I could play at work if I wanted to. It's just, hey, I need to go get attuned. I need to go do this specific dungeon to get this specific piece. And everybody's like, no, it's too hard. We already have somebody in our guild. It's like, well, you say I can't join your guild until I'm attuned to it. Or hey, I want the nether drake. What do I have to do to get a nether drake?
Let's go real world for a second.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you went to school and got your degree? Well, do you have 5 years of experience?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the idea of the magical experience.
It was kind of a BS thing it was more about who you knew than what you knew. And
I'm going to bring something up here when you put it like that. Movie wise, actually, the Hudsucker Proxy.
I've heard of this movie. Don't know the plot of it. But
God.
You're talking about the Tim Robbins one?
Yes.
Okay.
I love this movie. It's a great satire on corporate America.
Oh, heck yeah.
And so, the young kid gets off the bus, comes to the big city with his degree and everything like that, goes to the job board. And so he has this degree in business and everything else. And it's across the board as the jobs are coming up, is it keeps saying experience required, experience required, experience required. So he can't get a job doing anything, even though he has a degree. Yeah.
Oh, no. I was going to be mailroom.
Yep, exactly. That's where he ends up at.
That's exactly what, that's the way it was. That's the way it is nowadays. At least that's what everybody's complaining about. And it's really, in general, it's about finding ways to say that you've already had the experience. It's about proving that you're creative enough to be like, I've already done this kind of thing, or I've done it myself. And, if you, at least on paper, it says I've had that kind of experience already.
No, I get you.
And I think that's the hardest part, is trying to figure out, the way to spin that kind of thing. Like Mr. WoW Guildmaster over here managing to put it in a very convincing way
on a resume.
That it sounds like he ran a corporation, which is true. Running a guild is a full-time thankless job sometimes.
Being a raid leader is
I
like
have no idea what you're talking about. I've never done that before in my entire life.
It's being like a coach, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a sports team.
It's being the bartender, the coach, the banker, the soccer mom. It's everything. I mean, and you know what? People don't get enough credit once they actually go up there. I understand everybody goes, well, there's too much management in this world. But at the same time, there are also key people who are in management that need that.
Yeah.
So,
it's not that managers don't exist. It's just there's too many people. There's too many people to be delegated to, and shit just keeps rolling downhill. You're just making a bigger hill.
True.
Yeah.
At some point. And I don't know. Anytime I think about this, I can remember going back to a story I heard about some guy who joined up a consultant who decided to join into a framing shop and become a manager there, knowing absolutely nothing about framing, and the decisions he makes go against everything that you think about running a business, and it became the most successful framing shop, bar none, in that area.
Yeah.
Because of the changes that he made that make no sense. Like, he raised everybody's pay. People quit because it felt like it was too demanding of them. He didn't know a thing about framing, so he had everybody teach him about framing. He increased their interest in satisfying the customer without giving in to the customer's demands. And it's just a wonderful story to read and hear about.
They did that with Toyota, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, when Japanese brands came over with vehicles, they had a much higher standard comparatively, and it shot a lot of American manufacturers in the foot when it came to cars. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to go completely off topic and be like video games to management.
Trust me, it's a slow news week.
Well, actually, it's not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
So one of the things I want to talk about, especially for changes, is Google and YouTube are about to change again. They've been in the news a lot for the ad revenue stuff.
Are they going to be Google Tube?
No, they're changing their layout on YouTube.
Google and YouTube have been together since like a year after YouTube launched, actually.
Okay, so they're trying out a new fresh look for YouTube. The new desktop design is actually more mobile. So it's another site that is going more mobile. There's going to be a night mode, but it's a lot less junk on the screen to make it feel more mobile also. But they are doing the dark mode also.
The one thing that I saw, and I'm not too sure about the stipulations for it or not, is that when you go and watch a video, at least maybe if it's just a new video that drops or something like that, you don't see a total views on it yet. What you see is a total amount of concurrent viewers at that point in time.
Really?
So yeah, at least with the first 300 views, what it is just how many people are watching, how active, how trending is that.
Interesting.
My problem with YouTube is I go down YouTube holes too often. So
that's what they want you to do.
That's exactly what they want.
That's why they have those recommendations in front of you all the time.
I know, but it feels okay. So there's a point in time where you feel like you've been staring at that bird that dips into water for way too long, and that's what it feels like after a YouTube hole. Is because it's just like, I know I was doing something for the last 3 hours, I just can't put my finger on what it was.
Yeah, what did I learn? What have I done? Because no, what's happened?
Are we on autopilot zombie style? Must watch YouTube.
That's what they want you to do, and that's also why they're starting up a big push for YouTube TV.
Okay. I can get that.
The thing about it is, right now, it's still possible for a content creator to put their information, their creation on YouTube and have it attract an audience. And so far, it seems like things have been stepping in a direction where if you are trying to be a success on YouTube, there are more hoops to jump through. There's more of they're trying to install a glass ceiling that you need to break through. To actually consider yourself a successful YouTube star, and at that point YouTube starts monetizing you or corporatizing you. And it is basically what I think they're trying to do, is find a way to install some sort of parallel to the music industry back in the day, which is, you would go and play your heart out and make your music and have fun doing it and play stage after stage after stage, and eventually you'd attract some record exec and sign the nebulous eponymous record deal contract, and all of a sudden you're a mega star making the albums and doing the tours and stuff like that. And I think that YouTube is trying to make something along those lines, where it's if you attract enough of an audience and you get their attention, and there's going to be a contract essentially that you make with them, and it's like we're gonna monetize, but you're going to have to stay within our standards and do things our way.
YouTube is actually doing that for music artists right now. There are separate contracts for music artists that can get signed with YouTube, where they make more money on YouTube, and YouTube helps promote their music videos. So even they are getting a different section and preferential treatment right now on YouTube compared to everybody else.
I just want it to stop asking me if I want to go red.
They want your money. Yeah.
No, now, because Microsoft was doing this, where if you opened up a browser other than their Edge browser and you had Edge on your taskbar as default it usually is, then it would pop up a little window saying, Edge is better than all these other browsers. Like, we've proven it. By our studies, Edge is better, Edge is faster, Edge is safer. And that just made me remove Edge from my taskbar, as far as that's concerned. Well, apparently Google started responding to this, and apparently if you open up a Google something or other on an Edge browser, they say, do you know that Google Chrome is better than Edge, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, the whole thing about it is, you can't really expect people to go looking for information that they don't think they need to know. And if you're trying to sell them a product or improve a service to them, you're not going to be able to do it if they don't know how to make the switch. If they don't know to make the switch.
So what you're telling me is that with the digital phallus that every corporation has decided to throw out there
Mm-hmm.
and be like, mine's bigger. No, mine's bigger. No, mine's bigger. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Your phallus could be as large as you want. I like what I like.
Yeah, but what if it were found buried somewhere in some back closet basement equivalent of the internet that Mozilla Firefox was actually rife with security holes?
Don't care.
Improperly run. That if you had used Mozilla Firefox at any time in the last 15 years, you are guaranteed had your personal information stolen.
Oh, you mean Yahoo?
Yes. I'm trying to be nice here, but and Mozilla just didn't put that in the dark, and none of the other browsers knew about it, so they couldn't tell you about it. And anytime you go to use a browser, Mozilla pops up something and says, "Do you know Mozilla is safer and faster and more secure?" and blah 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 blah.
I don't believe advertising from anybody anymore.
Yeah.
By the way,
Speaking of advertising,
this is the brand new Mountain Dew USA. I think what they did is they had too much code red, whiteout, and voltage, and went, let's put it all in the same.
this is true.
Well, it is a Pepsi product, and currently they're not running any ads on YouTube. So, this is probably the most product placement that Pepsi has right now on YouTube.
yeah. So what happens
Born
when you
in
mix,
the USA.
Yeah. What happens when you mix red, white, and blue, folks? You
Purple.
get purple. Give me that.
So
I want to drink a little more too.
YouTube is also looks like they've lost 10% of their ad revenue from the advertisers that have pulled out. Some have started to come back. It looks like Coca-Cola's back, but Pepsi's not yet.
Well, Pepsi had that big run-in with one of their big advertisements lately. I understand the whole Jenner ad caused a big uproar with the whole protesting, and I'm not insensitive, but I think that's why they're holding back on like a lot of their big ads lately. And if you guys actually, ironically enough, if you've seen the new Heineken ad, it totally pokes fun at the Pepsi ad.
The Heineken ad's good. The Pepsi ad was fake, and that's what the problem was.
The problem is this is
All
the thing
advertising's fake.
Yeah, the problem is this is the thing about advertising in this day and age is now it's gotten to the point where since you can fast forward through ads, they need to show you some of the craziest stuff you have ever seen to make you pause the fast forward and go back because it's like, did I just see that? And they've gone and pushed the envelopes as far as like, censorship standards and things like that. Think about the famous banned commercials for like Durex condoms and Skittles and things like that.
Oh, I know somebody that wants the Skittles Pox commercial banned.
Yeah, that thing's disgusting. Of course, the thing about the guy who like everything he touches turns to Skittles, like that's pretty like unnerving.
That's
too.
a hand of Midas issue right there.
Yeah.
And what about the Skittles berries and cream guy,
I don't remember that.
the boy in the blue suit?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the whole idea there, like that's the whole the thing is like it's more memorable if it's annoying or horrifying, and it's going to pop into your head more because it's something that unnerved you.
Caravan Customs.
Yeah, if it's something that entertained you or just put you into that usual TV mode of just taking it in and immediately forgetting it, which is everything that television does.
Well, you're a zombie when you watch television anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So anytime you're consuming content, not just television now, but stuff that follows the televised format, it's all taking it in and forgetting it immediately, and that's what they want you to do with commercials. Except they're trying to install certain points where it makes it memorable, with things that unnerve you, or things that you have to show to somebody, or things you have to collect and talk about, like their trading cards, like that Heineken commercial, or that Pepsi commercial, or that toothpaste commercial. All you have to do is just say, "Did you see that one commercial?" And they're gonna have 10 like popping in their head from that kind of thing. This is why I don't like advertising at all.
Yeah, but everything has advertising.
Yeah, you got to have advertising to a point,
Well,
or else the product's never going to get promoted, and people aren't going to know they want it.
There comes the balance. That's the point I was making before. It's like, where there's got to be a cutoff point where it's like we are making people aware of something. And instead of making people aware of something, there's a further line that's crossed that is influencing people in favor of it. And I'm not sure how I feel about the influencing people in favor of it in general.
Well,
And with that all ties into the whole YouTube thing about the advertisers pulling their revenue away and everything. I'm like, good. Less advertisements on the internet is always a win for me.
Well, they're a necessary evil. They really are.
No, I can agree.
But
Not everybody can be BlackBerry. They didn't advertise like publicly, like hardcore, like everybody else, and they did great for a very long time.
part of it is because they had government contracts.
Well, not only that, but also because of the solidity of their customer base. But nowadays, it's really hard. It doesn't matter where you're from or what product it is. If you don't have views, if you don't have shelf space, if you don't know what it is, you're going to have a hard time getting out there.
Yeah. And there's new tech gadgets all the time.
Oh my gosh, I have to say this is just funny. I was at Office Max and I saw these little USB fans that you plugged in, and I wanted to get 2 and put them on the side of computers, make it look like it's floating along.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This
See, tech
stuff
gadgets that make no reason.
is like drinking candy. Yes.
At least it tastes better than...
Which is weird because it's 100 calories a can.
yeah, that's what's crazy. It's less calories than...
It's got HFCS in it. It's got sugar in it.
How much caffeine is in it? It's on the side, usually.
I'm looking at the side. Caffeine content, 56 milligrams per 12 fluid ounces.
Haha! Still just as much caffeine as I'm used to.
Good.
I can't stop drinking it. I shouldn't drink it, though. It's too much sugar.
How much sugar is in there? 40 grams or less?
27 grams.
Yeah, 27.
Wow, that's like less than Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it totally... It
That is, okay, so sugar's in a Dr. Pepper can, in a can of normal Dr. Pepper, 40 grams. Now, think about this. This is true. You can go and look at it in your store and everything like that. 1 sugar cube is 4 grams. All right?
Yeah, it's 10 sugar cubes.
It's 10 sugar cubes in that can. Take 10 sugar cubes and stack them up however you like. That's how much sugar you're drinking. Every can of Dr. Pepper that you drink.
There are people who do that with their coffee, so
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
10 in a single... I've never seen anybody
That's like
who put
coffee-flavored
10.
syrup.
I've seen people do 10.
Yeah. I think I used to do 10 back in the day, actually, when I was first getting used to coffee.
Okay, unicorn frappuccinos. There are definitely 10 in there.
Time out.
no.
Okay, the unicorn frappuccino has less sugar in it than the caramel frappuccino.
I don't believe that for a lick.
Pull it up. Watch. I guarantty you. We'll put some...
Fact checking, huh?
We'll fact check on this show for
Unicorn
just a moment.
Frap.
Unlike 433 other people.
Ugh.
But we'll leave that alone.
What do you mean?
No, I'm going to leave it alone.
What? You taking swings?
Just at the hill.
Okay, according to livescience.com, health blog, the senior writer, as of April 21st, new Starbucks Unicorn Frappuccino is getting a lot of attention for its sky-high sugar content. 59 grams of sugar in a Unicorn Frap.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
Which is more than the Dr. Pepper.
I will give
That's
you
more
that.
than
And
Dr.
more than
Pepper.
10 sugar cubes. That's all I said.
Okay, yes, you are correct. But
The caramel Frappuccino, Java chip Frappuccino, and cotton candy cream Frappuccino all have 66 grams of sugar in a grande.
So my point is just as valid as yours.
Yes.
It's a different sword.
Yes.
For comparison, a 16-ounce regular Slurpee from 7-Eleven has about 36 grams of sugar.
Oh.
Wow. That's kind of interesting.
A 12-ounce can of Coke has 39, and a 1.5-ounce Hershey milk chocolate bar has 24 grams of sugar.
That's because they actually are still sticking to pretty close to their original recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which I can appreciate.
yeah, I can too. So, here's an interesting thing, especially we said swinging for the hills.
No, the hill, not hills. The hill.
Oh, swinging for the hill. Ah,
That's why I said I'll leave it alone at that.
okay. So Dreamhack is now hosting a seniors competition for Counter-Strike players.
Really?
Yeah, if you're over 30.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can someone hand me the Magnum?
DreamHack, that gets you the double deuce. Okay? I'm sorry. I try not to swear on these shows, but fuck you guys.
No.
Like-
I okay, look.
Maybe they meant senior gamers.
No. See, here's the
I
thing.
am not a senior gamer.
You are a senior gamer. Okay, when it comes to FPS shooters,
Yeah.
it's like I think typically it's like once you hit around 26, you're starting to get past your prime. So you are a senior at 30. There's not a lot of competitive players that make it past about like 26 typically nowadays.
Could you hand me my mouse, please?
Okay, I'm going to say that right now. If that's what's really cutting things out, your game is shit.
Oh.
No, it's because of the reflexes for like
Fuck reflexes.
Counter-Strike or how fast you
If
have
all
to
your
be.
game, if all your game is about how fast you are on the trigger, then that's just a bunch of caffeined up, sugary punks who just can click a button faster. Any monkey can click
The
a button.
same thing happens in a duel, is who can be faster on the trigger.
Dueling went out of style like 800 years ago.
And I
This
will
is
take
the same thing.
I will take on any junior gamer.
Yeah.
Any 16 to 26-year-old?
Bring it on.
Yep.
Okay. Ain't like Counter-Strike or StarCraft?
Oh yeah.
As long as we don't bring in somebody from South Korea.
No, I would. You know what? I will lose with dignity too. I have no problem saying that I will beat. I'm not saying I'm going to beat them all the time, but I guarantee you, I will give them a run for their money the entire time.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. If that is the limitation for your game is shit.
I've always had an aspiration for the WSG.
If you say that, basically that puts every first-person shooter out there, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, all those shit.
So far, you haven't told me one I wouldn't agree with.
Oh, okay. It's like you're asking the Pepsi guy if he wants a Coke, basically.
Yeah.
You do not bring up FPS with that man. Because as much as he loves Borderlands, as much as he loves those kind of things, if you put other people in the same fight as him, it has nothing to do with how good he is at the game. It has to do with the fact that he's just like, you're annoying, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah. It's one of those, I'm looking for a suitable opponent. I'm not looking for who's the fastest motherfucker on the planet.
Not to mention, it's also those people that in the age range that you're talking about that don't necessarily have the most responsibility in their life. So they can sit and find every small broken part of a game, which is fine. That's part of learning how to game, and I totally understand that. But if I don't know a corner is rendered improperly and that you can snipe me from a completely enclosed spot in the map, then you're gonna beat me every time because I will have no idea until I can plant a rocket in your rectum as hard as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
And just think of, like, anybody who's fast enough, okay, this whole thing about seniors and stuff like that. Just remember Gene Wilder's line about the Frisco Kid in Blazing Saddles, which has been on Netflix and you guys have watched it, I know. So,
Sheriff's a nice guy.
It's fastest guy out there until a 6-year-old kid gets the drop on him. Like, if that's true, there's always going to be somebody younger, always going to be somebody faster. How is that a proper competition?
Well,
how is that a sport? When we have actual sports out there now where guys stay in it and ruin their bodies by the time they're like 40 or 50.
There's a lot of those kids that are ruining their hands and their posture playing the games down.
You don't have to ruin your posture by playing
or your
games.
hands. Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's starting to be physical therapy for pro gamers.
Yes, there is. I will give you that.
Massages before the matches.
No, there's
real physical therapy starting to go on.
Okay, let's hit on that topic for just a half a second. There are gaming conditions that have been documented and moved forward. Carpal tunnel is on the rise. There's a lot of different issues with back problems that are coming from it. But also, some of this, if not at least 50%, in my opinion, can be solved by somebody smacking you in the back of the head and saying, "Stop slouching."
It's true.
Go outside. Stretch your legs. Spend as much time outside as you do with your video game, and you're not going to have as many of those issues. Mm-hmm. A football player does not stay in the football mode his entire day. Why do gamers do the same thing? Because it's easier. They don't feel the repercussions until after it's way past due. I admit I slouch. Mm-hmm. I like to slouch. My thing is, though, if you are slouching because you've been playing a game too long, get up. Go away from your computer. If your eyes hurt because of the strain, get up. Yeah. Go away from your computer.
Keep in mind that almost all professional gamers in Japan take regular breaks every hour.
Well, yeah.
They're required to nowadays.
Yeah.
And even in Korea. And that's the thing is, even
15 minutes an hour.
Even your professional sports athletes are not practicing or stay in that constant mode the entire time for like 8 freaking hours straight, and getting up just to go use the restroom and refill their Dorito chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this, if it's a sport, treat it like a sport.
Yeah.
And your body is as much a part of the competition as your mind.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. There are plenty of times where you can make a 3-4 hour run and not have to worry about it. But some of these conditions, like I said, if not half, could be avoided by just conditioning yourself normally. The reason we're having gaming disorders or gaming medical problems is because people are taking it to an extreme. And you take anything to an extreme, including drinking water, you will kill yourself.
Yes. That's happened too before in tournaments.
So,
So, in the week of weird this last week over in South Korea,
I saw this clip this morning.
Nikes.
They were for part of their Pokemon World Festival.
Oh my god!
Okay, one of the Pokemon dancers started to rapidly deflate. And a horde of government officials ran onto the field, picked up the Pokemon guy that was rapidly deflating, and rushed him off the field.
Were they government?
Yes.
Hut.
They're just beginning their big ensemble dance, and
The center lead Pokemon starts to rapidly deflate.
the first chair Pikachu.
Mom, I finally did it. I got second chair Pikachu.
The first chair Pikachu starts having some sort of technical problem. It looks to me like they're having something's going on inside the suit. I didn't see it deflating really, but I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff, I guess.
Oh no, it starts to melt.
And then all of a sudden he gets piled on like "Get down, Mr. President," and they're leading him off into the back. And I'm thinking like, oh man, he had some sort of medical episode. And turns out no, it was just a malfunction with the suit.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, okay, that's weird that they would do that. Just I understand they don't want to destroy the illusion. Mascots, especially dressing up as them, is really big in other countries,
especially for like kids and everything. I mean, think about the horror of watching Pikachu melt in front of you.
Yeah, you want to maintain the illusion as much as possible. It's like the people who dress up as Disney characters in Disneyland.
Well, they are
committed. They're committed actors, and they are really just like all in character all the time.
Mm-hmm. So this is making its rounds because it was just like people just rushed onto the field and just like started taking them off.
That was scary. If it was government officials, that was scary that they would just like rush in and do that. I figured they were like network execs or something like that to protect the precious brand that is Pokemon.
I'm hearing it was government officials because this is but it could be network execs.
Yeah, the thing of it, I heard it looks like he was being led off by government officials just because there was a bunch of guys and a bunch of stuffy guys in suits just like jumping in and like making phone calls as they let him off and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
So it could have been execs or people in charge of the performance or something like that. I'd be more along those lines, to tell you the truth. Let's see what I've got in weird news. I usually don't check until like right now.
Really, right now?
Well, I have a weird news blog that I follow.
A weird news blog that you follow.
Yeah.
That means you should be like, other things. So, you know how they have like those loot crates in games? Like MOBAs and Overwatch and Counter-Strike and whatnot for the skins and all. Well, China has passed a law that is forcing the companies to reveal the percentage chances of the gambling, basically of getting one of those crates opened. So because of this is like stuff that's been hidden for quite some time. Now that they have to be published in China, people are obviously going in and they are translating it and finding out what the percentages are for drop rates from these loot crates, so that they can see what's going on for opening them. Because I mean, it's like people are like, how many of these loot crates do I have to open to get something?
Time. I want to clarify this so I understand where you're coming from. You're talking about the loot crates that you order in the mail that come to your house?
Mm-hmm. No, in video games, like MOBAs.
Oh yeah,
Overwatch. They have loot crates after rounds, or you can buy loot crates.
No. Okay, that's why I was verifying.
Not
I was like,
Loot Crate, the service you sign up for that sends you random crap in a box.
Hey, they have some cool stuff every once in a while.
I didn't say it was uncool random crap. It's
Okay.
just, it's random crap.
Well, I wouldn't call it crap. That's my opinion.
Look, every single thing that I've seen come out of Loot Crate accomplishes nothing other than showing off some form of fandom. It does not apply any sort of utility to your life. It is just plastic tat that you use to display your affiliations.
Oh yeah, it's just like those machines in grocery stores that you pay 50 cents for a bubble.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to say grown up, but
Re-merchandised.
accelerated, catalyzed version of that kind of thing. Anyway, so the Loot Crates, the random drop stuff that you get in. This has been going on in video games for a very long time, but the reason that they have to report these percentages is because there is a sense of gambling applied to this kind of thing.
A sense of gambling, and that the game makers are not being honest. With having the percentages out there, you can actually now calculate, arguably if something is cheating the system. Because there are companies that have put out these loot crates and then cheat the system so that somebody is not able to get the stuff even though they're dumping money in. That way they keep getting more money. But as part of it is gambling too.
Okay.
And also to keep things proper on the record.
I'm going to pick on the major player here then, Overwatch, okay? Overwatch is an insanely fun game, even if you do play it against other people. It's got a great style to it, has a wonderful story behind it. Both in its creation and its actual canon. And I have liked everything that they have done every step of the way thus far. That said, the one thing that if it's a free-to-play game, you can get it. Well, it's not free. You buy it.
Buy it.
But you pay for it once, and then you can go and play it as much as you want in perpetuity.
Yes.
Essentially, that's the agreement. They're never going to charge you for the game
Diablo.
again. So, yeah, it's Diablo. Essentially, what they're trying to do is figure out a way that they can keep generating server costs, especially now that they've done away with their big money maker, kind of. The big money maker was World of Warcraft and people paying for their World of Warcraft accounts. They've now made it now that you can use in-game money to pay for your game time in Warcraft.
But it depends on how the cost of it's economics. It's really a solid economics scale of it. You have to be a pretty hardcore WoW player to be able to pay for your months.
Just completely free.
Yeah,
I understand, but
free.
it takes the edge off, and it means less money coming in. I know what they're doing is they're trying to balance what is one of the most horrid economies I have seen in a game, where they've actually this side of Diablo 2, which was the economy got so bad that they actually used in-game drops instead of money.
Well, I think coming from a business side, I think what they were doing with that, at least with the World of Warcraft side, is it's another money pit that we were talking about. The money pit, if they can drain the economy so not everything costs as much, and they eat 15% of their monthly revenue by going into free months and still generating content and players to have upscale kind of servers, then yeah, I mean that's a viable strategy.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but maybe I need more information.
So I was thinking that these crates, the things that drop, because you do buy more crates. Okay. That's kind of you paying into that kind of thing is them covering server costs and stuff like that.
You do not have to buy any crates. You can eventually get everything through crates just by playing through the game. But usually you get them at the end of matches or when you level up. And not even at the end of all matches. Basically, if you've played 10 matches and you get a crate for the day, or once you level up, you get a crate. So it becomes longer and longer to get a crate. Now, if you don't have the patience, you can microtransaction buy
Pay to win.
so many crates.
Now, keep in mind, everything that drops in a crate in Overwatch, thus far as I'm aware of, is entirely cosmetic. It is character skins, voice lines, poses, sprays.
Are we talking arterial?
No, it's a term for something where you can spray an icon onto part of the level.
A tag. Yeah.
And then what was the actual player banner icons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like these things are, some of them are rare drops. There are a certain amount for every single playable character in the game. They have a certain amount of unlocks, which you can view in your character roster. And there's a massive amount of unlocks in this game.
So you need none of these to actually play the game and stay equal with everybody else.
Okay.
These are all e-peening at this point.
This is all.
Oh, okay.
This is all 100% completion stuff.
Yeah.
So
the legendary stamp.
yeah, now this might become more apparent. Like the position on this might become a little bit more understandable when it comes to things like the skins and stickers and badges available in CS:GO, where there was an extreme backlash back in the a while back, where Steam actually had to crack down on gambling when it came to trading these things, because they actually gained some sort of monetary value based upon their rarity.
Yeah.
But they were all cosmetic. They didn't do anything within the game other than change the appearance of a weapon or some part of the game.
Right. Well, with Overwatch, the stats been released on the loot boxes. Basically, every box contains at least one rare, being a blue item. Players get a purple item 1 out of every 5.5 boxes. And then a legendary item appears once out of every 13.5 boxes. And these are stats that people didn't know, because some people are like, I never get anything, blah, 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 blah. And those are the legitimate numbers. So now some people can go, okay, is this really happening or not? Is it worth me actually spending my money to get loot crates? Because some people have griped about that stuff too.
Oh, statistics can still tell you that you can buy 100 items and never get a rare.
Like, these are all statistics and percentages. These are not if you buy 13 box or whatever that 13 box, whatever gets you a 13th box in the game, is not guaranteed an orange.
Right.
You're not guaranteed a legendary item. It's right. you're guaranteed a statistical chance of that item, as opposed to getting less than that. So it's weird how these things happen. And once again, I do have to point out, and this is my position on the whole thing, is it's all cosmetic. And trust me, when you're playing the game in the heat of battle and everything like that, all you're looking for is health bars and crit zones. You're not paying attention to what skin they're using.
Oh, those are nice shoes.
Yeah. You're not I mean, if anything, it serves as a distraction. Even then, it's only if you're playing Mercy as that Halloween costume that turned everybody into perverts for the stint of what was Overwatch Halloween last year.
I thought it was still turning them into perverts.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, this is just once again e-peening and having a fresh coat of, it's I'll use a Yahtzee line here. He said in zero punctuation. It's like kids comparing their taking their milking machines and dressing them up with stickers and shiny paint and saying that theirs is better because it's flashier. I'm shooting you. I'm paying attention to where I'm shooting you. I'm not paying attention to what you look like. Nobody's paying attention until you get to that victory pose, and then you're getting the biggest mental middle finger you have ever received in your life if you win.
Oh, so you mean like in Halo, where somebody would come over and
teabag you?
I wasn't going to say it. I was going to assume.
No, it's a pretty common accepted thing.
But yeah, when you had that happen, it wasn't like, wow, look at his helmet. That was awesome.
Yeah.
You were sitting there going, how dare he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had to release these percentages, I don't think it really is going to affect anything. The fact that there are people out there committed to it, it's like, good. Fools and their money are usually soon parted.
Very true.
Yeah. No matter what, people are going to do this stuff.
So, I mean, it's interesting.
It is, especially for the people that like the statistics behind it, because now you can see a little bit more. I know it's like League of Legends was having released their stuff. Like some of their epic stuff was like a 2% chance drop. So it's basically you had to buy around 50 loot boxes to get that super epic thing that everybody wants, Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if that really plays into the game any or not for that stuff.
I think it's just if you give somebody, it's something as old as at least trading cards. If you give somebody a checklist, the usual implication is that you want this checklist to be filled in, that people want a complete set.
Oh yeah,
he has no idea what you're talking about.
No, nothing at all.
But this is even back to like baseball cards and things like that.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh god, baseball cards used to piss me off. You open the pack, you're like, yes, first card out, checklist. You're like, how the did you ever say that this was a normal card? Because that's part of your 15 cards. It's just like, here's the checklist.
Do you have the checklist? And then, oh no, you marked on the checklist. That's not a mint card. It's a checklist. Am I supposed to check the checklist? I'm offending collector sensibilities here.
Yes, because Innistrad did this in Magic the Gathering where they had the basically the token card you put in that you marked which one it was supposed to be representing, that would be, flipping over or something like that. And because you can't have a double-sided card in your deck if you're unsleeved, or even sometimes if you're sleeved, they're skinny sleeves. So I have those token cards unmarked because as a collector, you don't want those tokens marked.
Yeah.
Because then it's not mint.
Oh, no, I'm not arguing with you about the mint, non-mint commissions.
You people are silly.
You're silly, sir.
I know I'm silly. The thing is, I'm just making sure you guys are aware of your silliness as well.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, essentially, yeah, just having the sense of a complete collection is going to be what drives people to get all of the skins, all of the sprays, all of the voice commands, all of the poses. And then they kind of just pick and choose however they like. That's the way it's going to be for League of Legends and Overwatch and everything like that. It's the same thing as if you give somebody a top 10 list, a high score list, they're going to want to beat the high score. Yeah. Just duh.
Human nature.
Human nature. And
you see that mountain? I can climb that mountain. You see that taller mountain?
Fuck that.
You see that? Yeah. You see that mountain you just climbed? I'm going to climb it faster than you.
Yeah.
Well, you see that mountain right there? I'm going to send you up there in a cannon.
Yeah.
Now, we have our own high score list.
We have our own high score list.
Yes, we do. We have our subscribers.
Yes. And that's...
You've all got the high score.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's now fleshed out to 10 people.
Yeah.
High five!
Yes.
So
10 subscribers.
Double digits.
Yes.
Yep. So thank you all.
Yes.
You'll be seeing that again on the end card for this episode, which again goes up on YouTube and VidMe, and on other select episodes as we see fit. We haven't nailed down if there's anything else we want to constantly put it on yet.
Yeah. Keep in mind, these are our subscribers on VidMe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get advertised also on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ha. So VidMe subscribers love us more. But you want to roll us out here so I can keep talking here?
So yeah, that was a GACC podcast for the week of May, first week of May.
The 5th?
May the 5th?
Yeah.
No, remember?
Second week of May.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is Free Comic Book Day, so you've missed it.
Or go out now.
Yeah. We recorded this on Free Comic Book Day. You're not seeing it until Monday, so you missed it.
I'm playing.
Go now and ask for your free comics.
I dare you.
Otherwise, yes, we've gone over May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th.
And we will see you all at the Duke City Comic Con.
You'll be there at the Duke City Comic Con, yes.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe.
Upvote, follow, rate, review, and...
You can find us on iTunes and Google Music
Google
in
Play,
podcast audio only form.
Yep, and otherwise we will see you guys next week.
Yes. Later.
Toodles.
Or do we do it after everything closes?
I do it before. Yeah, I do it before. Yeah, probably. Just because I know me and my energy levels, and it's after after I'm running around all day at a con, then you're gonna say, okay, time to record a show. It's like I barely have the energy to record this show when I haven't done anything beforehand.